Welcome back to the ACE Your RES Exam Key Topic Deep Dive series. Today, we're diving headfirst into, well, let's be honest, sometimes it feels like a jungle of paperwork. We're talking about the Management Corporation's Strata title, the MCST, specifically their records, the Strata Roll, and crucially, who gets to see what and when. Think of it as navigating the paper trails of condo democracy. And if you're prepping for the RES exam, knowing this stuff isn't just helpful, it's absolutely essential. So, our mission today, cut through the jargon, get clear on the rules.
Absolutely. This is fundamental for any agent working with strata properties in Singapore. Understanding the MCST's duties under the Building Maintenance and Strata Management Act, the BMSMA, that's core to your due diligence. It's about protecting your client and, frankly, protecting yourself in the transaction. It's not just good practice, it's the law.
Okay, right. Let's unpack that then. Where do we even begin? What's the sort of bedrock duty for an MCST when it comes to just keeping track of things?
The absolute foundation is retention. The MCST, which is, the managing body made up of all the subsidiary proprietors or SPs, they have a strict legal duty. They must keep all their records, books of account, related documents, everything, for at least 5 years. That's 5 years from the end of the financial year those records relate to. It's right there in Section 48 of the BMSMA.
5 years.
Okay, it's not a suggestion. If they fail to do this, the MCST is actually committing an offense. The whole point is to have that traceable history, financials, maintenance, potential issues.
Right, that makes sense. 5 years is the magic number. But all records, that sounds like a lot. Are there specific types of records beyond just meeting minutes, maybe, that the exam really focuses on?
Yes, definitely. We can break it down into a couple of key mandatory categories that you absolutely need to know. First up, financial records. This is covered under Sections 45 and 57. Think accounting records, financial statements, P&L, balance sheet, tax returns, plus all the receipts, checkbooks, proof of income, like maintenance collections. Oh, and a key point for the exam. These accounts must be audited every year, and not just by anyone, but by a registered public accountant. That ensures independence.
Okay, so financial stuff, audited annually, kept for 5 years. What's the second big category?
The second one is the bylaws record. Section 32, subsection 8 mandates this. They need a clear, current record of all the official bylaws, plus any extra ones the SPs have voted in. This is basically the rule book for living there. Renovation rules, pets, the works.
Got it. Financials in the rule book. So if I'm doing due diligence for a buyer and the MCST is cagey about showing, say, 4 years of financial statements?
That's a huge red flag. Because they're legally required to have 5 years available, they'd be in default of Section 48.
Exactly. Okay. That clarifies the general duty. Now, let's zoom in on maybe the most important single document they keep, the Strata Roll. What is that exactly?
The Strata Roll. It's basically the official register for the entire development. Section 46 of the BMSMA says every MC must prepare and maintain one. Think of it as the ultimate source of truth for who owns what and who might have a financial interest, like a mortgage.
Okay, the source of truth. What specific pieces of information must be on it? For the RES exam, what are the must-knows?
Right. There are 5 essential data points you need to memorize. Let's group them. First, property structure details. Number 1, the share value of each lot. This dictates voting rights and maintenance fees, and it has to be the value accepted by the Commissioner of Buildings.
Okay, share value. That makes sense. And the next group would be about people, owners and lenders.
Exactly. Points 2 to 5 cover that. 2, the name and address of the actual owner, the subsidiary proprietor, or SP. 3, the name and address of any mortgagee, the bank, usually if they've officially told the MCST. 4, this one's interesting, the date the mortgagee actually entered into possession of the lot, if that happened. And 5, the official address in Singapore for serving notices to anyone listed on the roll. This can include an email address now, too, if provided.
That entry into possession date, that sounds pretty significant.
It is. If you see a recent date there, it could signal, a potential foreclosure or distress situation. It's a major risk indicator for a buyer.
Right, flags it immediately. So the Strata Roll is less about day-to-day stuff and more about the fundamental ownership and potential claims.
Precisely. It's about transparency on that level.
Okay, so we know what records should exist, including this crucial Strata Roll. Now the practical part. How do I, as an agent representing a buyer, actually get access to these?
This is governed by Section 47. Access is mandatory, but it's a controlled process. First, who can ask? It's a specific list. An SP, a mortgagee, a prospective purchaser or mortgagee, or, and this is key, for agents, someone authorized in writing by any of these people. That's likely you.
Okay, so my buyer gives me written authorization. Then what? Do I just knock on the MCST office door?
Not quite. You need to make a written application and pay whatever the prescribed fee is. That's standard. Where it gets a bit more detailed and definitely exam relevant is the timeline.
Ah, the timelines. Always tricky. Give us the breakdown. Is there a way to remember this?
Let's call it the 7 versus 21 rule.
Okay, 7 versus 21. All right, I'm listening.
So initially, the law says the MCST has to make the records available for inspection at a time and place that you both agree on.
Yeah.
That's the ideal scenario, the negotiation phase. You both have 7 days from when the MCST gets your written request to reach that agreement.
7 days to agree. Okay, but what if they drag their feet? Or we just can't find a time that works?
That's where the 21 kicks in. If you don't agree within those first 7 days, the MCST's obligation changes. They must then immediately send you a notice. And this notice isn't a negotiation. It fixes a time for the inspection. That fixed time has to be during normal hours, say 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. on a specific working day. And crucially, that date must be within 21 days from when they first received your initial request.
Ah, okay. So 7 days to try and agree, but if that fails, there's a hard deadline of 21 days from the start for them to give access anyway.
Exactly. The 21-day mark acts as a backstop. It ensures you'll get access relatively promptly, even if cooperation is lacking.
That's really important. It means there's a legal limit to how long they can delay things. What if they just ignore it, blow past the 21 days? And does the agent or buyer have any power then?
Yes, absolutely. If the MCST fails to comply with Section 47, including that 21-day deadline, the applicant, your buyer, or you as their authorized rep, can apply to the Strata Titles Board, the STB. You can seek an order forcing the MCST to provide access. There can be penalties for the MCST for noncompliance. So the right to inspect isn't just theoretical. It has teeth.
Good to know there's recourse. Okay. That covers the process for, let's say, traditional paper records or maybe digital financial files. But what about other stuff? Like nowadays, lots of AGMs, the annual general meetings, are audio recorded. Does Section 47's mention of any other record or document actually cover an MP3 file of a meeting?
That is a fantastic question, and it leads us straight to a landmark Strata Titles Board decision. Yeah. This very issue came up in the case STB number 82 of 2017, which involved the MCST at Balestier Point.
Balestier Point, okay. Yeah. What happened?
An owner requested a copy of the audio recording of an AGM. The MCST refused. Their argument was twofold. First, maybe an audio file isn't a document in the traditional sense, and second, they cited the PDPA, the Personal Data Protection Act. They argued releasing the audio would disclose personal data, people's voices, maybe names mentioned.
Ah, the PDPA shield. That sounds like a common tactic. How did the STB rule?
The STB ruling was crystal clear. First, they confirmed that, yes, an audio recording is considered a record or document under Section 47 of the BMSMA. The format doesn't matter. And second, and this is the really critical part, they held that the specific requirements of the BMSMA override the general provisions of the PDPA in this context.
Wow, okay, so the Strata Management Act trumped the general privacy law. Why?
The reasoning was quite logical. The board pointed out that things like SP names, unit numbers, share values, that's already considered publicly available information via the Strata Roll itself. They emphasized that the need for transparency in how the estate is managed, which is what AGMs are all about, is paramount under the BMSMA. Access to that information is essential for owners, buyers, mortgagees. So the mandatory duty to provide access under Section 47 prevailed.
So what was the final outcome of that case?
The MCST was ordered to provide a copy of the audio recording to the applicant. The STB did note the MCST could charge a reasonable fee for the cost of actually making the copy. The ruling mentioned potentially up to $300 in that specific instance, but the point is access was granted.
That's a huge clarification. It means MCSTs can't just use PDPA or it's digital as an excuse to withhold records that people are legally entitled to inspect under the BMSMA.
Precisely. It sets a really important precedent. For agents doing due diligence, it confirms that your request can and should include relevant digital records like meeting recordings, not just paper files.
This changes the game slightly for due diligence checklists.
It does. The key takeaway really is that good record management, or data governance as we might call it now, for an MCST goes way beyond filing cabinets. Digital files, audio recordings, emails, potentially if they constitute a record relevant to the management of the Strata scheme, they fall under these same rules of retention and access outlined in the BMSMA.
That's incredibly helpful. So to recap for everyone listening, especially those hitting the books for the RES exam, we've covered the MCST's non-negotiable 5-year record retention rule under Section 48. We've identified the key records, financials, audited, and bylaws. We've broken down the Strata Roll, the 5 essential data points under Section 46. We've clarified the access process under Section 47, the written request, the fee, and that crucial 7-day versus 21-day timeline. And importantly, we've seen how the Balestier Point case confirms access rights extend to digital records like audio files, even overcoming PDPA
That
objections.
covers the core knowledge points quite well. Understanding these specific sections and the principles behind them is vital.
Absolutely. Mastering this doesn't just help you pass the exam, it makes you a more effective and diligent agent from day one. You'll know what to ask for and know the timelines you can expect. You're now better equipped to navigate those sometimes complex paper trails of condo democracy. On behalf of both of us, we sincerely wish you the very best of luck in your upcoming RES exam.